from. My name is Gina. I am a certified neurotransformative art practitioner, and I am also the founder of We Understand You, which is a mental health and trauma conference that we do every year. And so I am the founder of NeuroSomatic Art, Art of Transformation. And so I just want to welcome you to the webinar and just say thank you so much for joining and for your interest in kind of learning a little bit more about what neurosomatic truly is. And so let me tell you why I decided to do this, and then I'll kind of jump into what it is. I do trauma therapy as a trauma, or sorry, not therapy. I do trauma coaching. And so as a trauma survivor myself, I hold certifications in trauma neuroscience, neurobiology, neurophysiology. And in my own therapeutic sessions, I have found that I kind of hit like a brick wall, and I just couldn't get past certain things. And as I decided to go more into my studies, I started finding out that trauma lives in our nervous system. And the only way to really eliminate the trauma that lives in the nervous system, that lives in the cells of the body, is basically through, doing some sort of somatics. It goes back to neuroplasticity, which is all a part of the brain. Trauma affects the brain. And growing up, I was very, very creative. I loved being, doing things, doing art, doing just different crafts and things like that. And so it just came to kind of a stumbling block that I was just like, God, I just need something different. And it was through him that I was able to actually create neurosomatic art. And so neuro meaning the brain, somatic meaning the body, which means that when we do the neurosomatic art, it's actually working on the mind and the body. It comes into neuroplasticity, which is to reconnect, rewire, and reprogram the subconscious and all of the neurons in the subconscious. So the neuroplasticity is when we adapt to our environments. And so what we try to do is change. We have a lot of blocks and limitations that are put on our life from infancy all the way up. And so there's a lot of blocks and limitations that sometimes we have to work through. And unfortunately, as trauma survivors, we have a lot more. And so when I created this, it was really for myself because there was things that I don't remember, which I don't want to remember, but there's things that my family will say to me, and I'm just like, I have no idea. I don't even remember any of that. And it's just so disheartening to me because a lot of it is memories with my kids. Um, but I just don't remember a whole lot. And so I just refer to that as trauma brain. And so today you may witness trauma brain. I used to be very embarrassed about it. But now I just kind of go with the flow because I want people to see the real raw Gina and what I do and what I'm about. Because sometimes people, I like to, let me just say, I like to welcome you into the world of what it feels like to be a trauma survivor. And so I thought, well, transparency is the best way. And so, neurosomatic art is a trauma-informed, body-based creative practice. And what it's designed to do is to support the nervous system, emotional regulation, and healing. It blends neuroscience, somatic awareness, and intentional art. And so, what we do is a lot of people don't remember, but the art will remember things for you, which is absolutely amazing. And so, what it does is it helps you release stress and trauma that's held in the body. It helps you release that um, without reliving the past and going back into the past because you're just literally releasing. Some people don't understand what they're releasing, and that's okay, but it comes out somatically. So to give you an idea, if I'm doing a drawing with a client and we're in a certain area, and they may say, "Oh, Gina, my shoulder is throbbing." Well, in that moment, what we understand is whatever's going on, the trauma sitting in their shoulder. So then we stop and do some sort of a somatic practice to kind of release it a little bit, which sometimes we might just, bring our shoulder blades together and kind of do some deep breathing and stuff like that as well. And um, and so that lets me know that where in the body it is. And then they may say, I don't understand what's going on, and or something to that matter. So then I have to kind of think quick because I don't want to re-traumatize them or relive the past. But I do have to bring up some reflection points for them so they can understand what the art is bringing up for them. And so a lot of people think that trauma and anxiety live in the mind, but realistically speaking, it lives in the body. And so again, the neurosomatic art. Um, and I got my notes over here. I was saying I normally like I don't normally I have like a full page. I just have bullet points. So I'm like, oh, let me just do these bullet points. And so what neurosomatic art is it engages the nervous system, which a lot of people walk around with a dysregulated nervous system. A lot of people are angry. We have mood swings, which some of those are normal. Don't get me wrong. Some of those are absolutely normal. But what's not normal is when your nervous system is so dysregulated that you have these explosive angers. You know, this explosive mood swings. Your emotions are just all over the place. And so what neurosomatic art does is it regulates your emotions and it regulates your nervous system. It calms you down. Have you heard of the vagus nerve? Okay, so it actually activates the vagus nerve, which is absolutely amazing. With neurosomatic art, we use both sides of the brain, both hemispheres, the left and right. And what that does is it creates balance and logical thinking for whole brain integration, which is absolutely amazing. It calms the nervous system and releases tension. And so it has the relaxation and stress relief, neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. I actually, um, love this part because what it does is the formation of new, healthier neural patterns, which goes back to neuroplasticity, like we talked about in the beginning. And that's huge, changing your environment, changing your brain. And one of the things that I like to say about neuroplasticity is this. Which I absolutely love. So when you're on the way to the grocery store, just say you're on your way to work, chances are you probably take the same route to get to work. And then all of a sudden you're on your way and you pull in the parking lot and you're like, well, wait a minute, how on earth did I get here? And you're like, did I even stop at any of the six red lights or stop signs that I was supposed to? And so what happens is your brain is so accustomed to that route that it knows automatically where the stop signs are and the stop lights are. But when you get to work, you're like, whoa, like I'm glad I made it safe. Try going a different way to work one time. Try going to the grocery store a different time or a different way. Try brushing your teeth with the alternate hand, your non-dominant hand. It's very difficult, isn't it? Because then you have to pay attention. That's how we create neuroplasticity, is by doing things differently because we're expanding and growing the brain. That's what it's all about. It's all about capacity. Um, so emotional processing and regulation safely releases emotions while restoring mind-body practices. Um, and one of the one things that I absolutely love is the flow state facilitation. And this is really where it melts the stress away. So when you're drawing, you're just so involved in what you're doing. You're like, yeah, nothing else really matters. And there's sometimes I'll be drawing and I'll say, oh, I'm going to draw for 30 minutes. And I look up and it's been 3 hours. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even want to draw that much or that long, but apparently I needed it. Um, and so why does the art help? And if I'm going too fast, you can let me know. But I want to kind of get this in so then we can draw together if you'd like. And so I just want to kind of build the foundation here. And so it works by gently activating the nervous system while simultaneously supporting regulation. And so the individuals will learn, you'll notice somatic reactions without fear, which is huge because how many of us try to do something and there's always, fear or something that, that wants to creep up on us. And that's one of the big things. Um, it regulates your stress in real time. So you feel more calm, more relaxed in real time as we're in session or as you're drawing outside of session. Shifts out of fight or flight and into safety. That's a huge thing for people that have a dysregulated nervous system. We are constantly in a fight or flight state. And so when we can shift into that safety, into that regulation, the rest or digest, it really helps us shift into adult brain and shift out of trauma brain, which is huge. Um, and it rebuilds trust in your body's safety signals. And so when you start having that somatic awareness, you can start picking up on safety cues. You can start picking up the art when you're out. and you start getting a feeling like butterflies in your stomach, and you're like, well, wait a minute, okay, maybe this isn't a place that I need to be. You really start getting those somatic reactions, and you can understand that, okay, this is a signal for maybe safety or something else, and it's better just to kind of scale back and step back a little bit um, for that there. And what I love about it is some of the things, the benefits, the absolute benefits that I absolutely love. And so it reduces anxiety and panic responses, which is a huge thing because think about it, the increase in mental health, the increase in teens and adults is just, I keep saying there's kind of an epidemic, and realistically speaking, there is. The anxiety rates and the suicide rates are just so high right now, and a lot of it is due to, well, the world, social media, living up to the Joneses, just so many things, those fake facades, um, home lives, structures, just different things like that. And so, our kids are on laptops, and stuff at school so many hours a day. Then they come home and they're on social media, on some sort of gaming system. And so, it goes back to it's dysregulating. And so that dysregulation causes a lot of negative thinking, a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic, and people just don't know how to come out of that. And and so that's another reason that I absolutely love neurosomatic art. So the anxiety and panic responses, it reduces those and improves the emotional regulation. It creates a sense of calm and internal safety, increased self-awareness and self-compassion, which I absolutely love. You start learning to give yourself compassion, to give yourself that love and that awareness that your body really needs to create a safe environment for yourself. Release from chronic stress that's held in the body. So many of us. We're sitting, a lot of us sit all day, and sometimes we don't get up to move around. Sometimes we sit. And I found myself in sessions at times with my shoulders like this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like that's where I was carrying a lot of my stress. And I would look at myself in session, and all of a sudden I could feel my shoulders doing this in session. I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to learn to retrain myself and or train my body to say I'm safe, I'm okay. And just to be able to catch that heaviness into my shoulders rising. And when they did, my brain would say, okay, Gina, your shoulders are rising. Where's the stress coming from? A lot of times it was because I was activated in session. We were talking about something. And so by using the art, I'm able to relax my body more than I have in the past. It's a nonverbal outlet for emotions that are hard to express. This is why neurosomatic art is absolutely amazing for adolescents. Adolescents sometimes don't have the words to speak, and the art does. Same thing with adults. Sometimes we come into session and we don't know what to say, and so we will just jump right into an art session, and the art will actually speak for you, which is absolutely amazing as well. And so perhaps most importantly, neurosomatic art helps people stop seeing their nervous systems as the enemy, and begins understanding it as a protector that can gently be retrained, which is amazing as well. Um, why it matters? Because it's safe, it's gentle, it's non-re-traumatizing, non-invasive, and it's brings science, so neuroscience, neurophysiology, neurobiology, and it's adaptable to all ages. And so I use this again with adolescents and adults. I just have to go back in and adapt the programs I created and things like that. And so what my motto kind of is we're not trying to fix anything because we're not broken. But what we're trying to do is restore that regulation, that safety, and that connection, because that's pretty much what it is. It's about connection. It's about being seen, being heard, um, and most importantly, being supported, and that's really what it is. And and one of the things when I first started creating my own drawings, I wasn't feeling anything. So I think I went about 6 months, and I got so discouraged. I'm like, I'm ready to throw this stuff out the window. This doesn't work. This is just crazy. And so my programs are backed by two psychologists that actually use it with their own clients. And I remember my mentor saying to me, Gina, you've had so much trauma that you've endured. It's about safety. And even though you can't feel anything, it truly is working. It comes to the cognitive side of things. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to continue to keep going. And I think it was probably about 5 or 6 months later, I remember sitting here and I was drawing a trauma release framework. And all of a sudden, I just happened to blurt out freedom. And it was like this jolt of electricity just went through my body. And if I wasn't sitting in a chair that had sides on it, I probably would have landed on the floor. And that doesn't happen all the time. But I just like to be very transparent and open because the energy, it's not a bad energy, but it's just an energy. You'll feel energy when you draw, and it's that energy that you're releasing. You're trying to get it, out of your body and stuff like that because that's the block and limitation. That's whatever is stored inside our bodies, literally coming out and kind of helping you transform. And so what I love is when we draw slowly and with intention and connect your emotions to the lines, you're activating multiple regions of the brain at once. And so the motor cortex is, for movement. The limbic system is for emotional and memory, and the prefrontal cortex is meaning making and insight. And so with trauma survivors, the prefrontal cortex is in the front of your brain. That's usually not engaged. That's why we have trouble with executive functioning, time management. A lot of people will say we're lazy, but it's really not laziness. There's just so many different things that go into this. And so what we do is when they're doing it, it actually again helps to form new formal connections, neural connections, which is absolutely amazing. Um, in neurosomatic art, I'll give you a little bit of background as far as what the terminology is, so you kind of have that as well. So the lines are intuitive lines. The intuitive lines are your thoughts. Those are the thoughts that come from your subconscious. Where the lines meet, we call those an intersection. They kind of look like a cross like this, and I'm going to show you a drawing here in a minute and interpret it for you so you can see how it works. And so in those point pieces, we like to call those conflicts. So in the points where my fingers are meeting, you see the 4 points, those are conflict. We like to round those conflict because when we round them, the mind sees those as relaxation. It sees them as repairing. Um, and so what it does is it looks at the conflict and say, okay, I don't have to take this sharp turn anymore. Now I'm opening it up for more solutions. And so what we're doing is we're softening all of those points because now we're releasing whatever's in that moment. Color. Colors are emotions. Whatever color you choose, there's an emotion behind that color. Um, and then when we do the anchor, at the end. I don't do them on all of my drawings, but with my clients, but the anchor represents where are you sending your energy to? Are you sending it to the universe? Are you sending it to God? Are you sending it to nature? Where are you sending all of this change to? Because remember, it's just, I can't even think of the word now, but whatever you send out is going to come back. So if you send out negative, it's not going to come back negative, but you're releasing that negative to bring back positive. You're releasing whatever to bring back change. And that's what we're hoping to do. And then at the end, we do support lines, and those support lines are where we are literally anchoring everything with those support lines back into the conscious. So we work at the subconscious, the conscious, and the subconscious, the unconscious, and the conscious levels is the three areas of the brain that we work on. Does anybody have any questions? I can't see the chat, so I wasn't sure if there was any questions at all.
Could you say that last thing after anger? What was after anger that dealt with the conscious?
The support lines.
The support lines. Okay.
Yes. Yep. So what this, you're welcome. So the support lines, they're connecting, they're like connecting to the outside world. And so that's where we go from the subconscious to the unconscious to the conscious is what we're doing with that there. So I'm going to show you a drawing that I did. This was actually one that I did. This is called a release spiral. And so my question that I was trying to figure out was I have anxiety. And I was trying to figure out where my anxiety came from. And And I kind of had an idea, but I just wasn't really sure. I'm like, okay, was it the abuse? Like where did my anxiety surface from? What was the root cause? There's always a root cause to almost everything that we go through. After effects, whatever, there's always a root cause. And so I'm going to share this with you. Okay. So this is the spiral. Some people will say this looks like an eyeball. Some people will say, I don't even know what it looks like, and that's perfectly fine. And so what I have discovered was this here is actually me in my mother's stomach. So this is actually the embryo. And so this hot pink coming all the way out. So this hot pink represents the anxiety. And so what this drawing tells me is that my anxiety started in my mother's womb, which makes perfect sense because of the things that my mom has endured. And so it's showing that it literally came out from the womb and literally came out. So even after birth, I still had anxiety. The yellow represented God. Let me see what else with the other ones, if I have anything else. Yep. So the yellow represented God. The purple was bravery, and the blue. Let's see what the blue was. Okay. And then I don't know, I didn't have anything for the dark blue, but when it's releasing, this turquoise color of blue was actually the sky. And so what I was doing in the drawing was I was actually releasing my anxiety from me, up to the sky. And so I was trying to get it out of me, because you have to kind of go back to look at where the source was. Some people don't know. And so once I discovered that it was the womb, I was able to release it out of there, um, which is absolutely amazing. Let's see, orange. I don't know. I was trying to see what orange said. Oh, orange was protection. Um, and so I have drawn a lot of different neurosomatic art, but this is one that I really like. It doesn't take that long, but it's one that is super super powerful, super powerful. Let me show you another one that I have done. Um, this one here. This doesn't really have a topic. This is more of a relaxation one. We call this the centric circles. And centric circles, the body sees circles as harmony. And so when we draw circles and then we just round them into place, you feel more relaxed, more calm, more at ease. I used to have trouble sleeping, and I would do usually you do 40 of them, but I have learned not to do 40 because then I'm there all night. So I try to only do 10 of them, because what I have found out that if you do not finish your drawing, it can actually interfere with your sleep. It can interfere with your day because you're stopping the process from happening. So that's why it's very, very important. Hold on just a second, Carla. That's why it's very, very important, when you start, that you need to get through the rounding before you actually get up and move. Yes, Carla.
So maybe I missed this, but as you're doing the drawings, are you instructing people what to draw or how to draw? Like draw circles? I mean, it sounds like for sleep, draw circles to help you relax. But on that previous one, and the colors, who decides what the colors mean? Is that something that's already established, or does the individual, as it comes out of them, establish the meaning for these shapes and colors, etc.?
Yes. So yes. So I have created different frameworks. And so I guide them. I guide them with what they're going to do. The colors, they know. They will pick a color. Usually they randomly pick a color, because if I didn't randomly pick a color, my two favorite colors would be yellow and turquoise. Those are, like, I don't know, those are what I'm drawn to. I think because they're calming. But I will tell them blindly pick a color, and then where do you feel the pull that you want to use that color at? Then I'll say to them, what are you feeling? What emotion is coming up for you? And normally, I can tell a shift in their face. They go from happy to sad to crying to mad. And sometimes I don't even have to ask them. But most of the time I will, just to make sure that to get clarification. So I'm not just assuming what they're feeling. But everything is client led. I'm just guiding them with what framework that I am using. But I give them the option of using, do you want to use circles? Circles are harmony. You don't want to start off with using not squares. Well, squares because they have points, but we really don't want to start off with triangles because triangles are conflict. And we use those later on for time and to eliminate conflict and things like that too. Hope that answered your question. Thank you. Anybody else have any other questions? Yeah, so I love it. Would you ladies like to draw with me or do you just want to watch me draw? Okay. What? Okay. So I'm going to, if you're interested in drawing with me, the only thing that you will need is a piece of paper and a black Sharpie or a black marker, whatever you have, and some colored pencils. And as we're going through, I'm not going to be drawing intuitively because I'm going to be talking and instructing as well. And so just to kind of give you an idea of that there, I don't want you to feel like sometimes I get quiet because I'm drawing drawing myself, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And so when I ask the reflection questions, you don't have to. You don't have to speak them out if you don't want to. You're more than welcome. To say, hey, I had this reflection, or we'll just do that at the end. We'll say, hey, we have, if you feel comfortable at the end speaking about what reflection came up for you, you're more than welcome to. But I like to call this one is ripples of gratitude. And what this is this is expanding gratitude through the nervous system. And this is just a really nice one for kind of letting us see what we're actually grateful for. And so I'm going to go off camera for just a moment, and I'm going to switch over so you can actually watch me draw. Perfect. All right. Everybody have your piece of paper and your pen, marker, whatever you're going to use. All righty. Okay. So what you're going to do is you are going to put place a dot in the center of your page. And as you make it, I want you to think about one person, place, or a moment you are grateful for. And what this is this is your seed of gratitude. And I want you to ask yourself, what do you feel as you plant your seed of gratitude? Hopefully that's all right. Now, place your pen at the dot and draw an intuitive line around it. And so let me show you how to do this. Because it's kind of awkward. Not really awkward, but there is I usually give my clients a video. Um, this thing, I apologize. But intuitive line is just kind of it's a non-repeating kind of a squiggly line. And so when we're doing the ripples of gratitude, do you know when you throw a rock into the water, how it ripples? Okay, that's what you're going to draw. So pretty much you're just going to go around in circles. This isn't going to be the greatest, but I'm just doing it. And then wherever you want to stop, however you want to do it. So we're always looking for, it's not about perfection at all. It's just about progress. And so I always like to, to tease and say that I'm a recovering perfectionist because I would, have a paper that I have written and instead of just crossing it out, whiting it out, I would literally rewrite the whole entire page over. And so I just have to kind of, uh, make a funny about it for myself anyway. And then as you create your ripples, where in your body do you feel grateful? Where in your body do you feel gratitude most strongly? And you can always and you might feel like a warming sensation in your heart. You may feel a warming sensation in your stomach, in your chest. And if you have another piece of paper, you're welcome to write that down as well, because that's a good reflection point as well. And did you notice that your ripples were flowing easily, or did they feel interrupted? And then what might that tell you about your current state? And so now we're going in between our ripples. So I have four. And what I want you to do in each ring, we're going to call them rings. They're ripples, but we're going to call them rings, just say. What I want you to do is I want you to silently name in your mind what they are. So for example, inner ring would be my health. Then the next ring could be my friend Sarah, my safe home, and so forth. So I want you to kind of think about that as you're looking at your ripples of gratitude drawing.
Question, Gina. This
Yes.
seed, we brought somebody to mind for that seed, right?
Okay.
And
So that's
then,
oh, that seed was you. And
oh, I
then,
thought you said to bring someone else to mind. Okay, so that's okay.
yep. Um, hold on a minute. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes. So it makes you think of a person, place, or a moment you're grateful for. Yes. And that would be your seed of gratitude. Yes. So
Okay.
so
So
who is it or what is it that you're grateful for?
yeah, so I brought to mind my husband.
Okay?
So these rings, like my health doesn't really relate to him. So that's why I was asking about the
Yes.
seed. Are
Yes.
these, so how do we name these?
Yep. So what's going to happen is that's actually the next one. So you actually asked the question before I got to number four, but that's good.
Well, no, you were saying to start naming these rings, like you said, health and etc. I
Yeah,
don't know what
okay.
I don't know
Yep.
what your seed was, but I wasn't sure how to do it since I brought my husband to mind.
So
And
those
my
were just so those were just showing you some examples of what you could do. So the ring would be so I didn't really those are just examples that I have, but
Mhm.
just saying if the inner one was me, just say, oh, okay, it's me. Or let me just okay, so just say I'm gonna use my friend Sarah.
Okay.
Okay. So then it would be okay, Sarah. Sarah would be here, and then it was like, what am I grateful for Sarah for? And then those would be the other ripples that I would name, if that makes sense. So for you using your husband, what you want to do is in each ring, write or symbolically represent something you're grateful for, big or small. So it can be something that you're grateful for your husband for, or something that you're grateful for yourself. And so you're going to do that in each of the rings. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. I know it gets a little confusing, so I apologize. And mine's not finished, like mine's not because I'm talking, so I'm like trying to concentrate on mine and help everybody, so mine will probably stay blank. Just I'm let me see, grateful. Does anybody want to share what they have? Okay. You don't have to.
I can share
So
mine.
okay, sure.
Do you want to see my drawing?
Sure. Let's see it.
All right, so I just have a notebook. But can you see it?
Nope. That good old back.
Background. Do you kind of see it? Well,
Yep, I can
I
see it.
my I am grateful for AB and the community that is at AB. I am new to here, so that's what I put as my grateful seed. Um, and then I have six ripples. I just kind of kept going. It flowed very easily for me, so I just kind of kept going. But I put in there my supportive team, opportunities to grow, um, gave me a sense of purpose being here. I'm always inspired by being working here and with the community and with my team. Um, I have a sense of belonging now that I work here, and there's a lot of positive energy. So those are things that I put.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that.
Thanks.
And it is, and it's about being positive. It's about what are you grateful for, and we can do all kinds of different frameworks from gratitude to releases to revealing. I have some from money blocks, anxiety releases, so the list just continues. There's so many different frameworks that we can do, or topics that we can do with the frameworks and stuff like that too. Um, I just hurried up and wrote down four of them: God, health, love, and art. Um, Obviously, I'm just doing it so you and things like that as well. And so now, if you have all of your words kind of in there, your gratitude words or your symbols that you have wrote and drew in each of those kind of in the ripples, what I would invite you to do is to grab your colored pencils. And if you're like me and you have a favorite color that I like to draw with every single time, I would suggest that you blind pick. Sometimes your intuitive mind knows what you need best and what best describes that. And so you will take one of your colored pencils and then you will just kind of color. I'm going to do, and then you will just color in. And I didn't intuitively pick, uh, but normally I do. And then you will just color where you see where you would like to color. Sometimes people just color the whole thing the same color. That's entirely up to you, whatever you would like to do. But you're going to kind of blend your colors in because everything is going to kind of feed off what you've already done. And so this, when I have this yellow represents being seen, um, and bright, like warmth. That's what I feel when I use yellow. And that's kind of not all the time, but that's what I'm feeling now. I feel being seen in warmth, like being covered, is what I'm feeling with using that yellow. Um, and then you're just going to continue to go all the way around until all of your ripples are colored in.
So, Gina,
Yes.
I'm just going back to the words. Are these words that you are currently grateful for, or something you'd like to bring in and bring more forward?
So for me personally, you're asking?
For us, I mean, is there intention for bringing new things in or
Yep.
developing something?
So they can be both. So there are
Okay.
things that you're grateful for now. So this is what I would recommend. If you are looking if you're looking for things that you're trying to, like you're trying to bring things that are grateful to you, when you go to do this, if you decide to do this framework again, that I would make you the middle. You would be the seed of gratitude. And then when you do all of your ripples, what you put in them would be the things that you want to what you want to be grateful for, what you're trying to bring back into yourself.
Thank
Does
you.
that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And at the end, I will show you one other thing that you can do if you're using this for yourself, to kind of bring gratitude back to yourself. I will show you something else that you can do with this drawing to kind of show you. And you're welcome. If I didn't say you're welcome, I'm sorry. You're welcome. Another thing, when I'm drawing with my clients, or actually they're drawing, usually I don't draw with them. Um, I can always tell what state of usually what state they're in by the way that they are coloring. Um, if somebody is just coloring harshly back and forth, that usually means that they have a lot of stress. They're probably angry, upset about something. If they're coloring fast, that usually is what it means as well. If they're just coloring kind of soft and soothe, it can be dark too. But if they're just coloring soft and soothly, it usually means that they're in a flow state of relaxation, which is nice as well.
Gina, I have a question.
Yes,
So when you do this, I know you said that you do that. Do they draw by themselves, and
yes,
you're with them? Are I usually when I color or I draw, I usually listen to music.
yes.
What's your thoughts on that?
So you cannot listen to music. I've
Okay.
had people that have asked about music. I've had asked, I've had people ask if they can bring, some people believe in stones, where, you know,
Hmm.
if you like the amethyst is relaxation. The reason being is because those things embed into your subconscious and they actually, you're not working out of your subconscious anymore. You're usually working by what you're listening to. So
Okay.
they take precedence over what we're doing. And so I'm glad, that's a very, very good question. I'm so glad that you asked that, because yes, you shouldn't be listening to anything, even believe it or not, even like having kids, grandkids around. If you hear a dog barking and things like that, believe it or not, it's interesting because those things can influence how your drawing comes out.
Interesting. All right. Thank you. Of
Thank you. Thank you for asking that.
course.
Everything influences us. So that was a really good question. And as I say that, my dog's barking in the background.
I have another question.
Yes.
So when I draw, my hands tend to kind of cramp up. Is that something that I should be looking for, or you think that
Um,
means something, or is it just a me problem?
nope, because it happens to me. Chances are what's happening is that you are, what happens is our hands and our, especially our fingertips have neurons, you know, in them as well. Uh,
Hmm.
are you coloring very heavy?
Not really. I don't have any colored pencils, so I have three highlighters that I'm using.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Um, so I don't think so. I'm just kind of lightly stroking the
Okay.
hair.
Yep. So that could be a couple things. It could just be that maybe you haven't colored in a while. That could be one of them.
Yep.
Or because it's interesting that you say that, because even when I color lightly, it happens to me too. And so I just was like, oh well, and it could just be a reaction of I just chalked it up like, oh, maybe I haven't drawn in a while and things like
Yeah.
that too. But we have to always remember that our hands and our fingertips have neurons in them. And so it could just be a portion of, you know, it could be that there's, that could be a somatic release as well. And then the release of, you know, the coloring. Have you, you know, when was the last time you colored and things like that too? Bless you,
Yeah.
Lord. And things like that too.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So yes. And that happens to me from time to time too. And then I'll color, especially when I do bigger ones, and then my whole arm will hurt. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to take a break. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Just wondering if it had something to do
yes,
with it. Makes sense. What are your thoughts about merging colors?
yes, that's what I did.
Okay.
So usually when we do a neurosomatic drawing, we normally don't merge colors because what you're doing is you're merging emotions together. But because this is a positive one, it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. And so what I would recommend, this is what I wanted to say. If I would recommend if you are drawing and um, your hands start hurting, shake them. Oh, I was actually shaking. I remembered, oh, you can't see me. Because what happens is that shake them. Because when you're shaking, you're actually releasing that energy. So for clients of mine, and like dogs, we'll use the dog as an example. A lot of times a dog will shake. Um, because they are trying to release something. And that's what they have found out. So with us, when you become, like at night, my legs will get like heavy. I don't have restless leg, but my legs just get real heavy, and then I have to shake. And I feel weird doing it, but it actually just releases that heaviness. And so if you notice that your hands are hurting, just kind of shake them back and forth, and stuff like that, and just kind of get the blood going again, and kind of just move your fingers around and stuff like that may help as well. So because you're going to think your fingers have a lot of neurons in them, and like the neural pathways and stuff at the tips. And so we just want to be able to release that from our fingertips as well. And so that's one of the things I forgot to mention too, is that's one of the reasons that when we're drawing, some of my clients, some of the frameworks that we do, you have to feel the page, and they'll literally feel a little bit of the static, like the energy hitting their fingertips. And that's because of the neural pathways, the neurons that are sitting at the fingertips as well. And one other thing when drawing, you do not want to use a black marker of any sort, unless you're using a different colored Sharpie besides black. Because if you use black, you're going to literally color in all of your outline. Something in the
While everybody's drawing, I'm gonna drop in Gina's Facebook community and her TikTok. So if anybody wants to follow her on those, I've also added her um, her website on in the chat. So if you guys want to connect with her after this,
Thank you.
of course.
And I believe on my website, I was going to try to put it in the chat, but um, I can't. But on my website, there's an actual video. If not, I will upload it. The video will actually show you. It'll be me drawing neurosomatic art, but it'll give you a little bit informative ways of how the intuitive lines are actually drawn, and kind of show you, so if you ever want to do any of those. Um, all right, is everybody finished with their coloring part of things? Okay, I don't know who asked the question. I didn't see the name, so I apologize. That asked me the question as far as bringing gratitude back to yourself. With this one, absolutely you can. And so basically what you would do is you would start at, so this would be like, say this is me, and then the ripples would be whatever you want to do. So what you want to do is you want to start uh, at each outline of the ripple, and you literally want to do your intuitive line back into the center. And you can do that as many times as you want, but you want to bring it back into center. Of course, I'll have to go back and round these, but you can do that as many times as you want. You could even go through if you wanted to. Show you what that looks like as well if you go through, because pretty much what you're doing is you're taking, like for me it would be taking my art and then going back into love, and so you're still kind of incorporating all of that together if you want to do those. And then this is what the rounding, I don't want to take too much time, but just to kind of show you an idea of what it would look like. And so when we start rounding, I'm just going to color those in. It starts looking like a neuron. That's what it starts looking like. I'll have to go back through and finish this, but so that's the start of rounding. And as you see, it starts looking a little bit smoother in the process itself. You are more than welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I do have, I work one-on-one, I work in groups. I do structured groups, structured one-on-one. And then I have workshops that we do. So I have some workshops coming up, I believe in February. So you're more than welcome to check out my website. Or even if there's something on there and you're like, well, I don't need help with trauma, anxiety, or anything else, but maybe you need help with goal setting, and you kind of want to use neurosomatic art for goal setting, um, and things like that too. Or you're wanting to take a dream vacation, or I've actually used it for women that have infertility, and things like that too. So it can be used for a number of things, actually, just to kind of give you an idea. Does anybody have any questions? Did anybody have any reflections that they would like to share? Or did you have any reflections? You don't even have to share them, but would you like to just say that you did have some? You don't have to. Excuse me. And so when we're doing the intuitive lines really quick, when we're doing the intuitive lines the way that we're doing, what we're signaling to the subconscious is whatever that block is in there that's blocking us from receiving that gratitude that um, we want to remove it. And we want to smooth it out so I can receive what I'm supposed to receive. So I think most of it, I think I got round. I think I rounded most of it off. Might not be the greatest, but
I do actually have a question.
sure.
Sorry, I have a lot of questions.
No, you're all right. Good. I like questions.
So you made the lines, and do you make them from to the middle every time, or
Wherever they're intuitive, so wherever they
okay,
go, they go. If you
okay,
might draw a line, let me show you. So you might draw a line and you might start, you might say, oh, you know what? No. So you might actually start your line up here and go all the
oh,
way through, and your line might end up over here.
oh,
It's
okay,
really no restriction. I just was showing inside, but yeah, there's really no restriction. What I
oh,
tell
okay,
people is if you're uncomfortable, um, uncomfortable is good when we're doing this to a certain point. We don't want you to be so uncomfortable that you're dysregulated, but
hmm,
sometimes we do have to push just a little bit more. But if you find yourself uncomfortable, then I would definitely round. I would go back in and round all of the lines. And again, it's just pretty much just smoothing them over. Is pretty much what we're doing, getting rid of those points that are in there. And if the video's not up, I will put a video on my website as well, so you all can see exactly how the rounding is done and why we round and all of that stuff too. So this is just like my favorite thing to do, and um, I love it. And I hope each one of you that were drawing today, I hope you enjoyed drawing with me and kind of listening, and I really appreciate it.
So, I you told us about how colors mean things. Like, is there something like we're supposed to interpret from the colors we choose, like fuchsia or green and blue, dark blue,
So
dark,
in neuros, yep, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go
okay,
ahead. Sorry.
green, dark green and dark blue. That was all. And the fuchsia.
Yes. So those colors are what your emotions are coming up as you're drawing.
Okay.
So it's they're what is the word? They're only for you, should I say. Like I can't say that, oh,
Uh,
yellow represents joy, fuchsia is love. It's whatever you're feeling in the moment, that color represents for you in that moment.
oh, okay. That's great.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it'll change. It'll change
Hmm.
every single time that you do a drawing. It's going to change.
Nice. Cool. So it's for us to kind of like look at and say, what does that mean to for us? An emotion.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So for instance, I just picked yellow for God. Um, but normally for me, yellow is that's why I have to intuitively pick because I'll always go back to yellow and turquoise. But what I will do is say, okay, normally yellow for me, it's interesting because every time I color with yellow, yellow is bold, yellow is seen. And so it's always telling me stop being minimized. It's your time to be seen. And so
Mhm.
that's pretty much what that one is. Um, and then the turquoise to me is just very calming. And so I always choose that one because it's calming. And but now I'm like, okay, I need to kind of expand a little bit. So that's why I intuitively pick them. But you can have you can use whatever colored pencils. I use, I know there was a question in the chat about, let me see, was it about colored pencils and, yep. Okay. So Tracy asked a question in the chat. But before I answer that, any of the colors, I would just recommend that you intuitively pick them. I only use like the basic colors, but you can go out and buy like one of the big packs of like the Crayola or whatever colored pencils that you would like. That way there kind of gives you a better idea. not a better idea, sorry, maybe you have more color options because whatever color you choose, you could choose brown, and brown could represent love one day, and you're like, how does brown represent love? Well, that's because we're so conditioned to always think of love as red, or love or red as anger, when emotions can be any color that we choose them to be. It's intuitively picking, if that makes sense. So Tracy, the colored pencils that I like using these ones. They are Prang, but you're welcome to use any one. I like these better because I'm very heavy-handed. And so these are, as you see, they're a lot bigger. So I like using these ones. You can get them at like Michael's. I don't know if they Walmart has them, but like at a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby, Joann's, if there's any, something like that. They're called Prang. And I used to like well, not used to. I used to use Sharpies, but the smell is so strong that I actually use Faber-Castell Pitt artist pens. These are expensive. I'm not going to lie. These are expensive. The alternative would be, let me grab my bag real quick. You can get these off Amazon, uh, as well as if you go to my website, neurosomaticart.com, you can actually find these. Um, at the end, I believe it is, but I have used these ones as well. And so what I would recommend is using a bigger one. Like I use a 1.5, and then I usually round with a like a 0.8. It makes a huge difference. And so these have no smells to them at all. And that's why I like using them, because the Sharpies, yeah, you'll want to open windows and everything else when you use your Sharpies because they can be very strong. So before we close, if there's nothing, before we close, I want to take you into what integration looks like really quick for yourself. So just give me a couple minutes, and then if you have any other questions or anything like that. So one of the integration questions would be, which part of your drawing feels most alive with gratitude? As you're looking at it and you're reflecting on it, think about it. What part of your drawing feels most alive with gratitude? And I want you to kind of write that down. Jot a couple words or, a small sentence as far as what feels alive. Which gratitude part? How do the ripples reflect the way gratitude spreads throughout your life? If you could step into your image, what would it feel like to stand in the center of your gratitude of ripples? How does focusing on gratitude shift your nervous system compared to focusing on stress or lack? And then one of the last integration questions would be, what reminder from this drawing would help you return to gratitude when life feels overwhelming? And then usually when we're doing one-on-one, sometimes in group as well, the client will answer, and that's part of the integration. It's part of the process of the reflection, the integration and reflection. So what it's doing is we are taking everything that we've learned, and now they're integrating it into the conscious area, which will eventually start helping them in their subconscious as well.
What was that last two things? You said when you're in the center, what does that feel like? And then
Center. Yep. Did you get that one, or do you need me to repeat it?
no, I got that one. And
Okay. Yep.
then
How does focusing on gratitude shift your nervous system compared to focusing on stress or lack?
oh, okay. And the last one was
What reminder from this drawing
okay.
would help you return to gratitude when life feels overwhelming? And so normally, so this framework is about 30, maybe 45 minutes. Try to keep it a little under. But there's times that we're in session with clients for up to 2 hours, 2.5 hours, depending on what's coming up. I would never leave any of my clients in a dysregulated state. So we try to stay and calm them down, regulate them before we end the session as well. So do you notice a shift from when you first started your drawing till the ending? Maybe you were more tense. Do you notice that you're more subtle, more relaxed?
I personally am very relaxed right now.
Yes. Yes.
Rounding the corners are definitely, I think, my favorite. This is
Thank you. It
so
is.
great.
And I love that you said it's Carissa, right? Is that
Yes.
right? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure I didn't want to call you Clarissa. I'm like Carissa. Okay. So I
Yeah.
love that you brought that up as well because the rounding is like that is where people get they do get tired because what you're doing is a lot of times we carry so much stress and now what you're doing is you're smoothing that all out. So your
Hmm.
body's going, ah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you do get tired. I have clients that get tired. I have clients that get hungry and thirsty. So it's always recommended that you have your H2O or a non-alcoholic beverage handy because you will need it. Trust me, some sort of fuel. When I originally got into doing trauma work, I think I mentioned it. It wasn't even actually to help anybody. It was to actually figure out what was wrong with me. And I remember reading the book "The Body Keeps the Score" by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, and I think I read like I know I wasn't even through the first chapter, and I was like, oh my goodness, I really am not crazy. I'm not losing my mind. It really is the after effects of trauma, and so I have battled with so many things. But I'm very blessed that there's a lot of things that unfortunately I see in clients that that I don't want to say that they're worse than me, but I'm very blessed that the things that they're dealing with that that fortunately I have not had to deal with, and it's heartbreaking. And so when I not jumped in, but when I, started doing the work and started healing, and then kind of God opened the door and shifted me, and I was like, oh my goodness, I had no idea this is where I was going. Um, and then, with the art, it was the same way. I was like, I just need to figure out something else. And so I really appreciate that because, your comment and stuff like that too, that really means a lot to me. Kind of keeps me going and lets me know that what I'm doing is needed. And it really is. I know that, but it's always nice to have those encouraging words from others. So I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you being here, Gina. This has been wonderful. This is
Thank you.
so great. I'm so glad that you did this with us and are teaching us all of this. This is something that I think I'm going to continue on. So thank you very much.
You are more than welcome. You're welcome. It's been a pleasure. So it's actually been a pleasure and an honor to be here, and I'm glad that I was able to present and things like that. So I really appreciate that as well.
You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for doing your own work because that's what helps when we pass it on to others. And yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes. Thank you for
excited.
that.
This is nice stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I think before we close, I think I'm glad, one of the biggest intergenerational, when the hardest thing for me was apologizing to my kids. And you know, because you know what you don't know, you don't know. And when you grow up in an environment, you become that environment. You don't really understand that there's other things out there. And so when, you know, putting in the work was for me, but ultimately it was obviously my family and learning boundaries and learning things. And you know, there's so much in recovery. And so, you know, doing the art, I was able to learn boundaries. I was able to forgive. I was able to just kind of release all of that and feel 1,000 pounds lighter. And so, thank you for that, Diana.
Mhm. Well, I do trauma coaching and somatic trauma body work. So, yeah, and I started the same way, just doing my own trauma healing and had no idea like going inside. Like I thought I did, but they said, no, you just disassociate it from it. And then when you go inside, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And
It is. It is. Thank you for doing what you're doing as well. So I appreciate you because it is, you know, a lot of people don't understand,
mhm.
you know, unless they lived it and gone through it and things like that. But it's sometimes it's just enough to get up out of bed in the morning. It's just like, oh man. So thank you for you as well.
Mhm. Well, thank you. Yeah. I could talk forever about it. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to you outside of this. So go to, you know, you
Oh,
can go to
cool.
my website and email me. I would love to connect with you. It's always good to connect with other you know, other coaches and other ones that are doing somatic or whatever we're doing, because I do a podcast too.
Oh, cool. All
Yes.
right, sure. I've been on your website and I watched some of your videos when I signed up. So,
Oh,
yeah.
good. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. All right, I'm going to go. So, I will be in touch and thank you for this.
Thank you so much for coming.
And thanks to Alternative Balance for doing this.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.